I don't feel like myself. That is something that I hear often from veterans. And it is probably the most accurate, but the most uncomfortable thing that you can probably admit to another person, especially if you're a veteran, because you were taught not to talk about your feelings. And so to be able to highlight that something feels off about you, that you care about your family, but yet you don't feel close to them, something feels off and you don't know why and how it got here. And I want to kind of give you some insight into why that is. And any veterans that I work with at EVS kind of starts noticing that they feel different. And when you really kind of zoom in on where that difference starts is probably within the first 2 to 3 weeks of you being in boot camp. Because from the moment you go into boot camp, you are in survival mode. You are just trying to get through. And everything else that is a distraction is no more, because all you have is what's right in front of you. You have someone telling you exactly how to think, how to breathe, how to move at any given time, just to indoctrinate you into this process. And through all of this, you find a brotherhood or sisterhood where you are surviving together with other people. And I just said the operative word, surviving. You are surviving a very stressful time. It can be anywhere between 6 to 3 months. And then you also have to have additional training. And the training can take anywhere from 3 to 9 months. So you're going through this rigorous process of just trying to survive, trying to meet every qualification, every milestone that the military has put into you. And then you get into your first duty station, and all you are doing is trying to get the lay of the land. You maybe get to breathe for the first time and actually take in that you're part of the larger military, that you're not a trainee, that you're not at the bottom of the totem pole. But what is happening to your nervous system this whole time? Your body is being rewired. You are in a fight, flight, or freeze mode the whole time. And even when things feel calmer, your body is still very much activated because you are being evaluated. There's always someone looking at whether your appearance, your work performance, just your ability to show up 100% in the military is always constantly being watched. So you can't really rest. And guess what? No one knows that experience better than your fellow service member, the people that you're serving with, the people that has gone through boot camp or training or your first duty. But the more that the people around you, meaning the other service member, knows what you're going through, the less it feels like your friends and family back home knows you. So now let's advance to something where it's high stress, even more high stress, whether it be a rigorous training that involved a major military accident or hours and hours and weeks of being out in the field in the cold, or being on a deployment where your life is in jeopardy. All of those things is now cementing even further your nervous system. So you're just learning how to survive. And guess what? You're doing one hell of a job. You have adapted. You've adapted to the way that the military has asked you to adapt. You don't ask questions. You push through every point of discomfort, whether it be an emotional discomfort, whether it be a physical discomfort like an injury, because you don't want to be perceived as weak. You don't want to lose your job or your security clearance or ability to advance in the military. So you've done it all. So then you finally maybe get out of the military. You served your country proudly. And next thing you know, every time you're around your friends and family, you have no idea why you are not able to connect with them. It's like you're really trying, a grandparent died and you're like, well, that sucks. And then you don't feel anything and you feel weird because everybody else around you is crying and you're like looking off into the distance. Or your spouse is emotionally crying about something that you're doing and you feel disconnected. You don't feel anything. You're still in adaptive mode. You're still very much in the survival mode. And those things called feelings aren't something that was cultivated. No, the mission was. So everything makes sense within the context of the military. But then when you get out, it stops making sense. And that disconnection starts to make you feel more and more disconnected from everyone around you. And then you start to wonder, what's wrong with me? And then maybe even recognizing that you have become the problem in your family, where everybody else is maybe walking on eggshells because they don't understand you, but all of a sudden you become really reactive. All of these things are happening for a reason. And when we can actually take a look at what's happening in your nervous system, what you did to survive, and then be able to actually regulate the emotions as well as the nervous system, you will start to notice that you're able to kind of be at eye level or be able to connect with the people around you. One of the things that you are asked to do is to retrain your entire nervous system to recognize that you are in a new season of your life. And so many veterans struggle to make that transition simply because the military doesn't teach you how to transition out of it. You walked in 17, 18-year-old, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to go, and then you change, and no one taught you how to transition into this new space in your life. That people don't see the world as black and white as the military, that there is room for injury and feelings, and that it does not inherently make you weak. And that is a hard lesson to actually transform, but it is not impossible. And so if you notice that you're this disconnected and it is bringing you further and further from being able to be close to your kids, to your spouse, to family member, to friends, also mental health could be a major role into why you're struggling even more than other points in your life. And this is where mental health resources like the VA, like out in the community, can truly help bridging the gap between your emotional disconnection, learning how to readapt back into civilian life, and then being able to fully live in the moment with the people that you love. If you've watched this entire video and you got to this point, I hope you saw parts of yourself in this experience. And if you did, I want you to know that the military taught you how to be strong, and you have perfected it like nobody's business. Now it's time to also be more than just strong, but a whole being, because some situation doesn't require all of your strength. Sometimes it requires you to be able to get into those feelings so that you can connect with your kids, with your spouse, with your loved ones. And if you need resources like Essential Veteran Services to help identify mental health diagnosis, we are here to help. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you on the next video.